You want to hear the top 3 things that the average Muslim doesn't know about the Quran. And wait until you hear number 2, it's going to blow your mind. By the way, if you know of any other things that the average Muslim doesn't know about the Quran, please put them in the comments section to let us know. So, you ready? All right, cameraman, let's go. Cameraman, go to the next. Come on, go to the... Dude. Okay, number 1. The average Muslim will claim that the companions of Muhammad knew and recited the Quran word for word and that there were never any differences. Now, it's known that the companions had their own private collection of the Quran, which is called a Mus'haf. But did you know that the Mus'haf of the companions contained variants and differences? Let's look at the Mus'haf of some of Muhammad's closest companions. Let's first start by considering the Mus'haf of Ibn Mas'ud. Now, Ibn Mas'ud in his Mus'haf didn't contain chapters 113, and chapter 114. And in addition to that, take a look at the order of his surahs. You see that his surahs are completely different order than what exists today. His collection also contained pronunciation differences, spelling differences, and even entire word differences, right? Using synonyms. When you compare his text to the Uthmanic text, let's just take Surah Al-Baqarah alone. There's over 100 different variants and differences between the two. Now let's take a look at the Mus'haf of Ubay ibn Ka'b. As you can see, the Mus'haf of Ubay has a completely different order from Ibn Mas'ud and completely different order from the Uthmanic text. Also, when you compare just Surah Al-Baqarah alone, you will see 93 different variants between the Mus'haf of Ubay ibn Ka'b and the Uthmanic text. Oh, and don't forget that while Ibn Mas'ud didn't include surahs 1, 113, and 114, Ubay, his Mus'haf contained 2 additional surahs. And the last Mus'haf we'll consider is that of Ibn Abbas. Now, when you consider the Mus'haf of Ibn Abbas, he didn't have as many differences as the other 2. His variances, when you compare it to the Uthmanic text, was only about 20, a little over 20. The order of his surahs were different just like the other 2, and his Mus'haf contained the same 2 additional verses as that of Ubay ibn Ka'b's. Now, let's look at some additional variants that were found within the Mus'haf of some of the companions. Now, the ones that you see here come from Surah Al-Fatiha, verses 6 through 7. Notice that in just these 2 verses, there's at least 3 variants between the Mus'hafs and the Uthmanic text. So now, to confirm my statements, there are some really good sources and materials on this subject. Ulum al-Quran by Ahmed van Denfner and An Approach to the Quranic Sciences by Mufti Muhammad Taqi Usmani. Okay, number 2. The average Muslim believes that there is only one standard Quran, right? And that if you pick up an Arabic version of the Quran, then it will read 100% the same no matter where you're at in the entire world. 100% the same, word for word, letter for letter.
There was one Quran that was revealed, and if you check it with today's Mus'haf, it is exactly the same. Word to word, letter to letter.
We have the observation that all over the world, Muslims are using the same Quran.
There's only one Quran. There are no various versions or whatnot. It's one standard copy of the Quran across the Muslim world. And really, there's not been any variant versions of the Quran.
But did you know that there are several different versions of the Arabic Quran? Let's just take a look at 2 of them. The first 2 we're going to look at is the Hafs version and the Warsh version. Now, the Hafs version is the one that if you go anywhere and pick up an Arabic Quran, then you're probably reading the Hafs version. Now, the Warsh version is typically found in the northwestern African region. Let's look at some examples of variants between the 2 versions. The first variant that we'll look at is in Surah Al-Fatiha, verse 4. Listen to this.
مالك يوم الدين.
That is from the Hafs version. Listen again.
مالك يوم الدين.
Now, let's see if you can pick up the difference. Listen to the Warsh version. Same verse.
مالك يوم الدين
Did you catch that? Listen one more time.
مالك يوم الدين.
Now, if you don't know Arabic, then you probably wouldn't even notice the slight change in pronunciation of this specific word. The word that we're looking at here is Maliki versus Maliki. Now, I don't speak Arabic, but these guys do. Take a look at this.
So it was revealed Maliki Yawmiddin. It's the same word. Okay, so Malik and Malik. Malik, the owner.
Yeah.
Malik, the king. It's similar, but not exactly the same, right?
Notice the difference here. There is an extra aleph sound in Maliki, okay? And with that extra aleph sound completely changes the word. It changes the word from being sovereign or owner to king. Different. Now, which one is it? Is it sovereign or is it king?
They can't both be right.
Let's look at another example where a diacritical mark completely changes the word. Notice the beginning of the word here. The Hafs version reads, "We will forgive or have mercy." And the Warsh version reads, "He will forgive or have mercy." But which one is it? Is it "we will forgive" or is it "he will forgive"?
They can't both be right.
Now this next one is critical. It's from Surah 43, verse 19. You will see that between the Hafs and the Warsh version, two completely different words are being used. Now, it starts the same, but wait until you see the difference. Check this out.
وجعلوا الملائكة الذين هم عباد الرحمن إناثا أشهدوا خلقهم وجعلوا الملائكة الذين هم عند الرحمن.
Now, in the Hafs version, it reads that the angels are servants or slaves. But then when you go to the Warsh version of the Quran, it says that those very same angels are with the most gracious or the most beneficent. But which one is it? Is it servant or slave? Or is it with?
They can't both be right.
So notice, just between the Hafs and the Warsh version of the Arabic Quran, there's several differences. Now that's not even including the other variants that exist between the two versions.
And when we say the various different ways to recite the Quran, we are not talking about different voices or different styles. We're talking about slight differences in pronunciations, slight differences in letters, slight differences in harakat. If you were to compare two printed Qurans, you're going to see differences between them. Changes in letters and words and harakat.
To confirm my statements on this subject, please, there's a link in the description box to great Islamic sources on this very topic with the different versions that exist. That way you can go there and see the variations and differences yourself. Okay, so you made it to number 3. The average Muslim believes that when it comes to the preservation of the Quran, that it is word for word in its entirety and complete. But did you know that there are actual missing text and verses from the Quran? Now, what I'm not talking about is verses being abrogated from the text of the Quran, but I am talking about verses literally being MIA, missing so bad that even the companions of Muhammad questioned it. Now, if you think the first 2 were nuts, then when you hear number 3 and what was taken out of the Quran, you're probably gonna crap your pants. No, literally. Anyway, click that video right there for number 3. Hey guys, look, thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to click the bell for more content. Thanks, guys.